My name is Nura Izzatira binti Amafwat.
My name is Mama Alia Natasha Zakaria.
My name is Nur Aziza binti Mama Yusuf.
My name is Nabatia Christina binti Mak Faiza.
The landscape garden design was introduced in England in the beginning 18th century. It's called an English landscape park. This English garden had become popular all over Europe, which is replaced 17th century symmetrical and formal style garden. It's called Garden a LA franchise. It had become the principal garden style of Europe. English gardens represent the ideal nature view and very much inspired by the paintings of Nicholas Poussin and Claude Lorraine. Generally, in an English garden, there may be a lake or pond, establishing rolling lawns opposite the tree grove and structures of bridge, ruins and some other architecture. Garden were influenced by Egyptian, Persian and Greek gardening techniques. Romans loved their gardens, whether they were the grand garden of imperial country estate or the small private space tucked behind city houses. They treasured gardens both as place for relaxation and plot to grow ornamental plants as well as fruit and vegetables.
Versailles garden setting around 2nd century. It influenced by the Greek as the colony, the courtyard in Greek houses. Is surrounded by many pillars to support a shady roof, while the center, being the middle courtyard, is exposed to the sky. The garden is enclosed in architectural frames of walls and colonnades, which constitute a compositional. Swimming pools, ponds, and fountains, as well as sculptural elements, were great importance. Most common garden ornamentics of the god is the example of religion influenced the garden design.
Villa garden were in sense larger versions of peristyle garden, so big and they usually had their own building separate from main house, typically contain elaborately shaped for flower beds, tree and hedges and water features. Topiarily, its horticulture practices were very intricate with water features since 1st century. Fountain of a canal became one of the main focus points of the garden. Water became a symbol of wealth and status from Roman culture.
Imperial Garden. It occupies a large garden space surrounded by a wall with numerous niches and a clinic, with a large exedra in the middle of the side wall. The interior of the garden was filled with bosquet, alleys, and flower beds. There were also richly decorated wells and sculptures. It was the most extensive palace building of antiquity. They look perfect together with the surrounding gardens, made the place extremely prestigious and representative. Public garden. It intended for rest and recreation and they referred to the Greek gymnasium. The rest of the space was occupied by various types of trees, flower beds, and walkways also full of sculptures, and the portico was decorated with paintings. Gardens were also established near thermal beds, intended for rest, games, and bathing. The surrounding gardens became meeting and resting place for many citizens of the city.
Horti's garden is small and located in tiny area. Space was a huge limiting factor in the development of this garden in the city. For example, basil, mint, thyme, and savory. Household gardens were transformed for more ornamental uses. The start of the Roman Republic's era in 150 BC shifted from being private and functional to more public and ornamental. Water fountain. Fountains were used for decoration and to celebrate their builders. Roman fountains were decorated with bronze or stone masks of animals or heroes. In the Middle Age, Moorish and Muslim garden designers used fountains to create miniature versions of the Garden of Paradise.
Pool. Symbolic meaning. Ancient Romans viewed water as a necessity of life and also as a thing of beauty. It also doing sports and socialize and relax. Shrub. Roman gardens began as practical feeders. Large or small, they were source of vegetable, herbs, and fruit for the household. Hedged with small shrubs or pots, hedge, and surrounded by pathways to create a private space for the owner of the house to relax in and enjoy, but design impress guests.
Sculptures. Their sculptures were created mainly to honor their ancestor gods and goddesses, philosophers, military generals, and leaders. Roman leaders started to use their status as propaganda for their sake.
Marble. Romans used colorful marbles in the building for a variety of reasons. First, the use of colorful marble added a decorative element to the architecture. Colorful marble were used to create intricate pattern and design and to add accent to the building. This allowed the ancient Romans to add a unique artistic flair to the structure. Secondly, the use of marble allowed the ancient Romans to create a sense of grandeur and wealth. By using expensive and rare material, the Romans could visually demonstrate their power and influence. The use of colorful marble also showed off their wealth and status to visitors.
Big tree had a meaning which is a laurel well is made of branches and leaf of the laurel, a type of evergreen shrub or small tree.
Stairs. The step allowed them platform on which to stand and throw stone at enemies below. Roman pillar. It is called column which is used to support porch roofs on civil buildings and temples. It also being the most recognizable aspect of ancient Greek and Roman architecture.
Ancient Rome was once of the most important to ancient empires. They had furthered the world and helped society then and today. They show good examples of economy, social structure, and the arts. Now, W.
Also know and learn about historical of Roman, concepts that they use for, what they apply the element of Roman garden and many other. Roman gardens were characterized by a love of the landscape surrounding vast residences. The main inspiration was the religious cult of nature, a world inhabited by deities and filled with their statues. Tombs, chapels, and sanctuaries were located in the gardens.